Hi, I'm Rick Peterson with 𝗧𝗵𝗲, and we're on location today at High Fidelity Cannabis Company, located on Main Street in downtown Luverne. My guest today is Terry Gray, and he is the owner and operator of this facility, High Fidelity Cannabis Company. Terry, welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us. And we have all kinds of questions because this business, the cannabis business, is new to Minnesota and certainly new to Luverne. And so thank you for allowing us to come inside your facility. We'll have a conversation with Terry, and then we will do a walkthrough kind of to show you about what all is going to be going on inside the building. So Terry, it's been a long process to get to this point. So why don't you just give us a little bit of an idea of what you had to do to get this far?
Perfect. Yeah, and thank you for coming. This is exciting. It has been a long process, and it started with what the state called social equity applicants, and they wanted certain groups of people to have early access to the cannabis industry. So the first people who could apply were people who had met certain criteria, whether it be being a veteran, if you had a prior cannabis charge, that was one of the things. If you lived in a lower economic area, that was one of the things that qualified you for social equity. So through that process, we were able to get an application in based on the lower income level. Okay. Is how we were able to get applications in for that. And then what happened at that point is most all the applications for that lottery were rejected. So there was a lot of lawsuits that happened saying this lottery doesn't work, and why was ours thrown out, and so then the state canceled the lottery, and we have a micro-business application, or had a micro-business application. So what that means is we could have a small retail facility, a small cultivation, and a small manufacturing. And the state didn't have a limit on that, so they didn't end up doing a lottery for this particular license. So basically, instead of the lottery, they just gave everybody a pre-approval.
Okay.
Yep.
So then you entered the county or the city zoning process?
Correct. That was the next step. Once you got a pre-approval, then your next step was get your approval from your municipality.
Okay.
And in our area, the county has their certain setbacks, and how they made it is kind of all the dispensaries would have to be in the city limits of Luverne.
Okay.
And so then we went through the city process, and the first process was the conditional use permit for zoning.
And they've issued 5 of them currently?
Currently there's 5, yes.
And you're one of the, obviously, the...
Correct.
Okay, so that happened,
Yep.
And then what was the next step?
The next step is once you received your conditional use permit from the city, then you go back to the state and enter your final plans. You show them proof that, yes, the city has approved you to have a license here. And then once you have your final plan submitted, then they give you feedback on your final plans. You get those corrected, and then you do your state inspection. And we did our state inspection just last week.
So when you say final plans, like the store layout and on those types of things?
Yes, that's included. You do. They want specifics on everything. They want to know what every vent you have in the establishment is, where every window is, every smoke detector. They want to know everything.
Okay.
And they want to know everything about your furnace, everything about everything. It's very interesting how much information they really need. And the final plans also are your operating procedures. Okay. So what you do in security situations, what you do for your hiring situations, how you do your inventory control. There's all kinds of different things in the plans.
So when we get done with this conversation, we'll also do kind of a little brief walkthrough on the entry and the security and that sort of thing.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about product, which, as you can see, there's no product in here. And as Terry invited us over now, because once you have product in here, you're not allowed to have outside footage come in and record. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So thank you for the opportunity to see nothing.
Right.
I appreciate that. But you will be getting product in, you know when? No, once you get product in, you're up and ready to open?
Correct. There's a couple things that we still need to do. The city of Luverne, we just need to show proof of our insurance policy. Because it is such a niche market, it's kind of expensive, so we don't want to do that until right at the last moment.
Okay.
So and once we show them that, then the city will do their final approval. So the state does their approval.
Okay.
Then the city will do their final approval.
Once the insurance and all that sort of stuff.
Correct.
Okay, so there's one more step yet to go.
One more step, but we're holding off until we
get product.
Until we're right. Yep.
Tell me about the product hurdle now, because there seems to be a very small variety or places to get the product. Tell us about that.
Correct. Right. So all the licenses were in a lottery process. The micro is unlimited, so they eliminated the lottery. But for the cultivation, they continued with the lottery process. So once that lottery happened, the people who were chosen, then they still had to do their build out. So they did build their greenhouse facilities. They had, some of them might already had that if they were a previous greenhouse, but then they still needed, just like we did, get all the state approval. So there's very few that have been licensed at this point for grow operations. But there's been several reservations in the state that have compacts that are being made with the state that they can supply dispensaries off the reservation with their product. So the reservations didn't have to go through the same process everybody else did. So they have their grow facilities are already operating, and they already have retail dispensaries open.
Okay. And so right now, where would that, one of the reservation dispensary or growers, who would that be?
Currently, the only one that has wholesale product available is the White Earth Reservation.
And that's where at,
it's about 4 hours from here.
Okay.
So it's a long ways away. And with that too, in order to get product, you need to get it from a licensed transporter. So one of the things you could get would be a transporter's license. And that's a huge process too, because it needs to be recording your drive in the back of your vehicle the whole time. And it all goes through the state. Everything's documented through the state metric system, which is it's basically a software program where once the plant is at vegetative state, it gets tagged.
Okay.
And then that tag stays with that plant the entire time until it's sold at a retail store. So it will get, as it grows, and then as it's transported, once it's here, that it gets either put on display or it gets put in storage. And then once it's sold, then it's out of the system. But it's tracked, they call it seed to sale. So it's tracked basically the entire time. They'll know exactly where that seed, where that plant has been.
Wow. So best guess when you'll start receiving product?
I wish I had a good guess. We were trying to work with White Earth. There was another compact that was signed with a different tribe last week, but I guess they have 30 days before they're allowed to sell. There's another one that is, the compact's complete, and they're just waiting right now for the, I don't know, what do you want to call it, the excitement. The governor wants pictures there when he signs. So they want to do it right away.
Sure they do, yeah.
But the state says, no, we need the Star Tribune there, and we need, everybody. We want the
Star Media should be there too.
They should be there too.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they said, hopefully, they said they've been typically doing those signings on Fridays, so they're hoping either tomorrow or the next Friday. And they seem very confident they'll be able to get us product, but it might be, again, November 1st would be the worst case scenario.
Well, I have all kinds of additional questions, mainly on product and procedure. Maybe we can touch on them as we take a quick walk through your facility.
Yep.
We'll come in from the front door and let people know what they're can expect and what they'll have to go through, and the process that state dictates in many ways on how you can come in and be a customer. And so why don't we do that, and we can walk you through all of that sort of thing, and we'll go that way. Hey, I'm back here with Terry Gray from High Fidelity Cannabis Company, and we're in what I would call the entry room into the facility. And so Terry, why don't you tell me a little bit about what we got going on here? This is the first room they'll walk into, correct?
Correct. Yep. This will be the first person they encounter will be at this desk, and this is where they'll get ID'd for the first time. So they'll walk in before they can see any product, anything like that. There'll be somebody here that will ID them. It's basically just a waiting area. So we'll only have maximum of 13 people in the retail area at a time. And so if there's more than that in there, they'll wait here in the waiting area. And that's why we have the TVs too. These are going to be menus. So say they're in a hurry and they don't want to wait to look at the product, they can order right off the menu, and then the bud tender inside the retail area can have that product pulled for when they are let in, so they can check out right away.
Okay, and so when you say check the ID, they got to be 21?
Yes, 21
okay.
plus. Yep.
And then so we have the TV screens here that they'll have the menus on. I also see that we have an ATM machine, because I'm understanding that all transactions are cash.
Correct. Yep. All transactions are cash because of the type of product. Banking, all the credit cards are FDIC insured, and because it's not a federally legal product at this time, everything has to be on a cash basis.
Okay, all right. And I see security is of the utmost. There's the windows are secure.
Yes.
And then once you get done with this room, you'll enter the retail portion of it, and that has to go through a security door as well, correct?
Correct.
All righty. So why don't we take a walk over to there?
Sounds good.
I'll let Terry now you'd normally just come right here and buzz in?
They would normally it would be the person working the desk would buzz the person in. They'll have a remote buzzer to let them in, but we'll just do it like that.
Okay. We're back into the retail outlet portion of it, and why don't we just do a quick walk around? There's no product, obviously.
Correct.
And so what I found that was interesting is the Bud Bar, as you call it.
Yes. It's
not for
Bud
Budweiser,
Bar.
I'm assuming, right?
Right. Yep.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what that will be?
All right. So normally it'd be lit up, and each one of these has an extender on it. So all these will have a different strain of product. So each strain of flower will be in one of these. It does have a nice viewing area, so you can get a very good view of it, where it will expand the product so you can see it well. It also has this here, so you can smell the product as well. And the neat things about these is because all our displays will get locked up at night, and so we can remove all this, because these will be permanently there. We can just remove these and bring them into our storage at night.
So if someone comes in and decides that this is the flower that they want,
yep.
Then what happens?
Then everything that we'll have at the beginning will be prepackaged.
Okay.
So they'll say which size they want. They are allowed to have up to 2 ounces on their person at a time. And then the bud tender will go back and get it out of storage, and then it will be re-ID'd before the final transaction.
Okay. So I know lots of curiosity is on the measurements, and you said 2 ounces. So is that generally how a purchase will be made, by ounces or grams? Or
typically in ounces, but not usually full ounces. People do like a half or a quarter, an eighth, yep. So there's and then that would just be with the flour. Yep.
Okay. And so pricing will be pretty much market dictated, I assume, especially when you get more distributors and more product availability. But what would be a low end cost compared to what would typically might be what you would be a higher end price?
Typically between $45 and $60 currently for an eighth.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is a whole new thing. I mean, how are people going to determine by sight or smell when they've never bought something like this? Does the bud tender help in asking some sort of questions, or how does that work?
Absolutely, yep. And that's the important part, is all the bud tenders need to go through extensive training.
Okay.
And there is online training that they'll do. We actually have a book for them to read, and it educates them on all kinds of different things about all the different strains, and it will because there's a lot of different strains have different effects. So there's like indica, and there's sativa, and then there's hybrids. And like an indica product will be like more of like a relaxing product, where a sativa product will be more of an uplift product.
So there is medicinal marijuana as well as recreational. You will or won't be offering both at this time?
We will not be offering both, just recreational.
Okay, okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to let the audience know about this whole process that people may not even consider?
Just that it's intimidating to come into a dispensary for your first time, but it's not something to be intimidated about, you know. And we'll have a good, friendly staff. People are knowledgeable. There's no dumb questions, you know, because for a lot of people, because this is new, there's going to be a lot of people that don't know how it works and don't feel intimidated, because we're going to have a great crew here, and we're welcome to answer any questions.
Have you felt any pushback from the community in any way about this business, not necessarily your business, but the business of cannabis in general?
Not really. The Luverne, I think, did a very good job on the process. In fact, at the very end, it was interesting because the state inspector said he had to make some communication with the city on a couple things, and he said, "Your city was the best communication we've had since I've started this process." Yeah. So which is really cool to hear, you know, how quick they were to respond, and the whole process of even getting the license. You know, there's a lot of, it's new for everybody. It's new for the city, it's new for the county, it's new for us, you know. So been very easy to work with, and we haven't seen really any pushback at all.
Great.
So,
Terry, thank you very much for your time. That about does it for this conversation. Time to pull the pin, and thank you for tuning in.